So today's webinar, as you know, the topic is health and wellness, health insurance, and safety on campus. We'll cover all of these things. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind you if you missed the Part A webinar, we talked a lot about on campus services and supports available for you academically. So things like learning development and success, Western libraries, and the like. And so a lot of good information was shared in also in the part B. So if you missed that, we'll be sending out a link to all of the recorded webinars at the end of our webinar series. So not to stress about that, but we're glad you're here today. Obviously participating live gives you an opportunity to also ask questions throughout the presentation at the end as well. So we're really glad you're here and that you've taken the time to participate this morning. My name is Francesca Mancuso Silva, and I will be presenting today along with my colleague, Fabiana Tepedino. You'll see her in just a little bit. So today, sort of the agenda includes the following. We'll talk a little bit about the W curve of cultural adjustment. You might be familiar with this, or it might be a first time you're seeing it, but we'll spend a little bit of time reviewing that. We'll talk about, the benefit of having a growth mindset as opposed to a fixed mindset and what that means. Then we'll go into some more practical information around UHIP and your extended health plan coverage, whether you're an undergraduate or a graduate student. We'll talk about how to access medical care in Canada and what looks like. And then ultimately, our goal today is to make sure you leave with some knowledge about the services that are available to support you in your health and wellness while you're here. So in terms of the W curve of cultural adjustment, it's something that you might have seen before, um, or if you have experienced before, maybe not seen it presented in this way. So basically, this visual is really trying to capture what is a common experience for newcomers to a new place. So whether you're in a new country, city, even just new learning environment. So some of you are coming from abroad directly. Some of you have been in Canada for a little while. But every time you sort of enter a new culture, whether it's a new place or a new academic learning environment or a new social environment, um, there's going to be sort of this, I don't wanna say normal, but it is kind of normal experience that you might go through, that looks like this, a W curve. And everybody's W curve could be different. It could happen sooner or later for you. But basically, what this is trying to depict is that, when you first arrive to a new place, there's always this honeymoon phase, right? Everything is new and exciting. That could have looked for you the first couple of weeks at Western. Everything was new and exciting, and you're eager to explore and meet new people. And then at some point, again, can happen sooner or later, frustration might start to set in. And with that frustration, you notice a little bit more of the differences between, what you're used to and what is culturally sort of the norms here. And so that can lead to some feelings of culture shock or cultural adjustment stress. And we'll talk about what that looks like, both emotionally and physically, and and how it ties into our conversation today around health and wellness. So that'll be the next part. But yeah, what we want to do today is just really normalize this experience and so that when you're going through that tough time, there is, an upswing. You can go up from there. There's a period of recovery and adjustment. And you can go through these dips kind of over and over again. When you go home, there'll be sort of a reverse cultural adjustment that could happen if you go home for holidays, for example, or you enter into another culture or another cultural space. So We at Western International have been working with international exchange students for many, many years, and we know that is a lot to adjust to new place and space, and there's a lot that goes into it. People maybe the first thing that comes to mind is potentially language barriers or difficulty navigating those, surface level things, but, there's also, homesickness, loneliness that might not know the unwritten rules and expectations here in Canada, and so all of these things that we've put here on the slide, um, you may have experienced before or maybe not yet, or hopefully not ever, but, just know that it's a big deal. You've come to study at Western, from wherever you're coming from, and the adjustment process is definitely layered. So know that that's normal. But what you might experience, some possible emotional reactions we want to talk about. Again, you might have experienced these already. So, strain due to the effort needed to make adaptations to new environment. You're thinking or constantly translating in some cases in your head to be able to communicate and learn. You could be feeling a sense of loss, missing your friends and family supports. Um, and, now that the sort of novelty is wearing off, perhaps, missing home a little bit more. Rejection by or rejecting members of the new culture can happen too. Confusion in your role expectations, especially if you're moving from, high school to undergraduate degree or of an undergraduate degree to a graduate student. Maybe you didn't expect that, your role would shift or your expectations would shift quite so much. There could be some surprise, anxiety, even disgust, indignation. Um, one thing I've heard from students, as an example, how come in North America we don't regularly use bidets, for example? That's disgusting. You should. I'm used to washing in this way in my home country, and that's really gross that you're doing it a different way, right? So you can feel those kind of feelings. Sometimes incompetence or impotence, not being able to cope. You think that you should be doing better than you're doing. Again, just know that these emotional reactions are all part of the process. Physically, in terms of your physical health, um, cultural adjustment stress can sort of manifest in a bunch of different ways. You could find yourself being more irritable, having more mood swings, stomach problems, headaches. A big one is fatigue, pain, or tension just from constantly being stressed, um, and chronic illness. So when you're stressed and not sleeping well, your immune system suffers, you could get sick more easily. You're also being exposed to, perhaps germs that, you've never been exposed to in the past. Cold and flu season coming up, so all of these things can be related. You might also see that there's, some changes in behavior. You might not notice them, but your friends or family back home or here might notice them. You might start withdrawing or having some difficulty concentrating, being bored, risk-taking behavior. All these things, again, can be linked to cultural adjustment stress and then have a domino effect on your health and well-being. So that's why we're starting with this piece today, not to be negative and depressing or anything, but kind of sets the stage to what might come for you in terms of your health and wellness, and being prepared for that and knowing the resources and knowing um, how to avoid or at least lessen some of these symptoms, if you're faced with them, right? So some strategies. understand that it's a process. That W is a process. You're going to go up and down, and how you cope and handle that um, with support will make all the difference. Know that you're not alone. This is a very common experience for newcomers, and so chances are, if you're feeling a certain way, your fellow new students are feeling a similar way too. So know that you're not alone. Talk about it to a friend, a peer guide, um, trusted staff member. Definitely know that you're not alone. At the risk of sounding like your mom, just a reminder to eat healthy foods, get enough sleep. Um, those small things can have a really big impact on your health and wellness and your ability to cope. Same with exercising and spending time in the sun. You'll notice that as fall carries on, the hours of sunlight, days stay the same, but the hours of sunlight will lessen. So it'll start getting darker sooner and sooner. Sunset in the summer is like 9:30. Then in the fall could be 8, 7:30. In the dead of winter, you'll see it getting darker. Even as early as 5 o'clock. So that can have an impact on your mental well-being as well. Get and stay connected, whether that's with people, I guess it's both. Um, Stay connected with your friends and family back home, however you can, and also get and stay connected with new supports and new friends here as well. Seek support when you need it. Make sure that you learn about Canadian culture. That's one of the things that can help you navigate if you're having a challenging time and having those questions of like, why do you do things here that I'm not used to, or why is that so different? So, learning more about Canadian culture again through a peer guide, through your ECP leader, for example, are all good strategies. Also, share your experience with others and share your culture with others. So, also, that can be a really powerful way to stay connected to your own identity as you move through this cultural adjustment process. Um, Share your favorite foods, share your, you know, favorite things about your home uh, country or culture. And ultimately, be patient with yourself and with others. The 2 last ones, we're gonna spend a little bit more time on, is adopting a growth mindset and really considering all aspects of your wellness. So you might be wondering, why we are talking about culture and adjustment stress, when the topic of the webinar is, perhaps physical health and wellness, but it's all tied together. And so Fabiana is going to talk a little bit about all aspects of your wellness, but first we're going to talk a little bit about having a growth mindset. So what I mean by growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So if you have a fixed mindset, you're kind of stuck in your way of thinking and viewing the world and your experiences. So, if you have a fixed mindset, you might be thinking, there's really no point in trying. Either, I'm good at it or not. Um, I'll never get better at this thing. I'll never adjust. I'll never like it here in Canada. Um, I'm just going to stick to what I know. Failure is limited of my abilities. This is kind of the perspective that you're taking if you have a fixed mindset. If you compare that to a growth mindset, which we're suggesting you adopt, is really coming to think about the world and view the world um, and your experience is in it as opportunities for growth. So, I made a mistake, but what can I learn from it? This is hard, but if I move through it, uh, I'm going to come out with different skills or having grown personally or academically. I'm going to keep trying. I'm not going to give up. Failure is just, something that happens and I'm going to try again. So, um, I'm going to give you an example. Um, at the Welcome Center this year, just a few weeks ago, I met a student, and I don't know if she's in this webinar or not. So, I won't name names, but I met a student who really made a lasting impression on me in terms of having this growth mindset. And I asked her, how was she settling? How was she adjusting? And so while she spoke to me about some difficulties she's having, missing her children back home, she had to come to Canada without them, without her family. What struck me in terms of her mindset is she kept repeating, I'm so excited to be here. It's hard. It's going to be hard. But actually, I want it to be hard because I wanna come out of my, program here at the other side, and I can't wait to meet the person I'm going to be. I can't wait to meet her. And it really struck me, and I've, been thinking about it ever since because it was a fantastic example of somebody who had that real growth mindset, knowing that it was going to be a challenging program for her, that it was going to be adjustment for sure, but really looking at it through the lens of, I can't wait to meet the person on the other side who is going to be, so much more skilled and personally, having grown. So I give you the example as inspiration because it definitely inspired me. So, with a growth mindset, we really encourage you to practice self compassion. Now you know that W curve is normal. Um, Try not to stay stuck in the bottom too much, the bottom half of it. Seek support, talk to people, know that you're not alone, and really give yourself grace and be kind to yourself. Um, Journaling and self reflection can be super helpful to help you move through whatever feelings you might be having. And yeah, again, when faced with a challenge, think of an as an opportunity to learn and grow. And having this growth mindset really can make you stronger in the end, help you step outside of your comfort zone, enhance your existing skills, and help you gain new skills. And then just know, it takes time. You're not just going to wake up and decide to have a growth mindset. You really have to work at it and practice, and it will become easier with time. So, the student I mentioned, I'm sure she's, had this mindset for a while and has been working at it. So, amazing. Before we go on to the next section, I think Ray has put up a poll. We would love to see who's in the room today. If you can indicate if you're an undergraduate, graduate, or exchange student, that would be fantastic. We'll leave up the poll for as long as we need, and then I'll pass it over to Fabiana for the next section.
Great. Thank you, Francesca. Good morning, everyone. My name is Fabiana Tapadino, and I'm one of your international student advisors. And so in this section, we'll talk a little bit more about wellness. So as Francesca mentioned earlier, part of that cultural adjustment is making sure that we're taking care of our overall wellness. And that's not just our physical and our mental wellness, but there's actually 7 dimensions to our wellness. So our physical wellness is making sure that we're taking care of our body, that we're eating healthily, sleeping, taking care of all of those things, as Francesca mentioned. And then our taking care of our mental wellness, so taking care of our mind, using that growth mindset, doing some mindfulness, and just making sure that we're taking care of our minds. But the other 5 components of wellness include our social and cultural wellness. So making sure we're staying connected with friends, meeting new people, and connecting with our friends back home as well, making new friendships here and connecting overall with the campus community. With our environmental wellness, it's taking care of what's around you. So taking that time, organize your room, maybe get a plant, taking care of the spaces, not just in your home, but our environment outside of our homes as well. Next, we look at our academic and career wellness, making sure that we are staying on top of our studies, getting the supports that we need, and looking at our future goals and what are our career plans. So making use of the services that we have here at Western that can support you in those academic and career goals. Next, we look at our financial wellness. So making sure that you're taking care of your finances. Maybe that might look at booking a session or attending a webinar to learn about budgeting, or making sure that you're maintaining your credit scores. And last, we have our spiritual wellness. So making sure that we're taking care of our values and beliefs, connecting with our spiritual or faith community, and taking those times for some of that mindfulness. So it's important to keep in mind these different components of wellness and to think about, are there parts where I could improve on a little bit, and choose one thing that you can do during the week that can help improve your wellness in one of those areas. With regards to mental health support, so if you are feeling like you do need to talk to somebody, you're feeling down, maybe you're dealing with depression or other mental health concerns, we do have the health and wellness services here at Western, where they provide professional and confidential services free of charge to students who need assistance to meet both their personal, social, and academic goals. Appointment information is kept confidential and it does not appear on your academic records, and it's not shared with anybody without your consent. And so you can either book one-on-one appointments, you can get referrals to other services. They also offer groups and workshops throughout the year that you can join. They do brief change-oriented psychotherapy, and they do offer some same-day crisis appointments if you're in need of that. And their office is located in Thames Hall. You can also access digital mental health supports. There's a variety of supports that you can access. Together All is an online platform, a peer-to-peer community that you can access 24 hours a day to support students. And participation is completely anonymous and it's monitored by trained therapists. And as a Western student, you can access this service for free. Western also offers a wellness navigator. And so this is an online self-assessment that you can use. It's completely confidential and you can monitor your own mental health and well-being during your time here. And depending on how you answer the questions, it will recommend different resources and supports based on your results. If you do need to talk to somebody outside of regular office hours, there are 2 phone lines that you can access that are completely confidential as well. So we have Good to Talk and Reach Out 24/7. So both of those offer crisis supports and confidential supports after hours. In addition to those services, as Western students, you also have what's called an extended health plan. So for our undergraduate students, you have an extended health plan through the USC, and it's through Purple Care, and they have a service called My Wellness Plan. And so these are some of the mental health and financial supports that you have available as an undergraduate student. So this service also provides another mental health assessment with additional resources that you can access. There is online counseling that you can access. They do have evening and weekends available. With this online counseling, there is a fee that you do have to pay, but you can claim that through your health plan, and it's usually less expensive than accessing a psychotherapist outside of the university. The Coffee Financial Wellness, they have different webinars, workshops, and financial coaching to help you budget, improve your credit score, and take control of your finances. So definitely something I recommend taking a look at as an international student. And under the My Toolbox section, they have many links and resources to help you with a variety of topics. So if you don't know where to go, what supports are available, or what tools you might be able to access, that's a great place to look at. For our graduate students, Your extended health plan is administered through Student VIP, and they also provide some mental health resources through the Explore IM Well suite of resources. So these are available for those of you who have the enhanced plan. And to access the IM Well resources and supports, you will need to download their app or use their online dashboard. And so they have some online counseling options available in over 180 languages available. They offer free 30 minutes to speak with a lawyer for free legal advice. They also offer some financial supports as far as resources available to help you budget, managing debt, and advice from a financial professional. You also get access to a nutritionist. So if you want to learn how to eat more healthily, the food in Canada might be very different from home. And so it's always a good idea to talk to somebody to see how some of the things can translate and have more healthy eating habits. They also offer life and health coaching. They do self-guided computerized cognitive behavioral therapy. They also have a 6-week program to improve your well-being, focus, and stress. And similar to the undergraduate, they have a list of different resources. And in particular, they have some resources around if you have elder care, so taking care of your parents or an elder in your family, childcare information, housing information, and more. Next, we talked about kind of finding that mind-body connection and taking care of our physical health includes being physically active. And so Western has some wonderful facilities through our campus recreation services. We have a full-service fitness center that includes a pool and different gym equipment and gyms spaces that you can use. We have intramural sports where you can join some sports teams for fun. We also have many recreational clubs like the Jiu-Jitsu Club, the Outdoors Club. So I definitely recommend taking a look at those. I always find with international students, I always recommend join one of those recreational clubs. Join either you want to maybe try something new or do an activity that you did back home because you can create great friendships that way while also being physically healthy. Through campus recreation, you can also take group fitness classes. They have aquatics and first aid training. They also have some drop-in sports for example, for basketball, volleyball, and other sports. You can borrow some equipment and much more. And so really taking that time is really important as your students, you get busy and sometimes you let that physical activity go to the wayside. And so it's really important to take some time during the week to get some exercise because it really does improve your brain health and that cognitive function. It helps you focus a lot more. It helps lower your risk for anxiety and depression and can help your sleep and your overall quality of life. So make sure, put it in your calendars, block those times off to make sure that you do some sort of physical activity during the week. Sorry, my computer has frozen. Oh, all right, so we're gonna watch a short video.
The Western Campus Recreation and the Western variety of activities and programming available.
Looks like there's a problem with the sound. I'm just gonna stop sharing for a moment. Sorry, I'm just gonna not being my friend today. One moment as I reshare this again with the sound properly. Okay, let's try this one more time. My apologies for that.
Welcome to Western Campus Recreation and the Western Student Recreation Center. When you arrive, you'll be asked to scan your Western One card at the welcome desk. Please follow all instructions for entering and exiting the building, which will be indicated via signage. We have a variety of activities and programming available for members to use. An Olympic-sized swimming pool where we host championships, meets, swimming lessons, lap swims, and much more. Campus Recreation also offers a full-service fitness center in the WSRC with over 160 cardio machines and a state-of-the-art weight room with staff available to answer any of your questions. Campus Recreation in the WSRC contains 6 gyms which are used for recreation-based sport clubs, drop-in programming, intramurals, and more. A wide range of group fitness classes are also available for all skill levels. Our facility has 6 squash courts available by reservation. Change rooms are open for members during our regular hours of operation. Mobile devices are not permitted to be used while in the changing rooms. We have a variety of equipment available for loan or rent at our equipment desk. A membership card or photo ID must be presented when signing out and returning equipment. Intramurals are usually offered in fall, winter, and summer sessions with various indoor and outdoor sports available depending on the season. In addition to our programming in the WSRC and our outdoor fields, we also offer both jogging on our new track and skating on the arena ice in the Thompson Recreation Athletic Center. In addition, Western Campus Recreation provides additional services and programming. You can visit our website for more details. We also have hundreds of experiential opportunities available for students. For more information, visit our website at uwo.ca/campusrec.
Make sure to take some time and take a look at the great facilities that are available at Western. So next we'll talk about our UHIP and your extended health insurance coverage. So as an international student, your main health insurance plan is called UHIP, or the University Health Insurance Plan, which is mandatory for all international students and their dependents, so your children and spouses that are here in Canada with you. And your UHIP covers the cost of your services, such as going to see the doctor, going to the hospital, surgery, x-rays, blood work, things like that. It does not cover dental services, prescriptions, eyeglasses, or other services. So really important to print out your UHIP card or keep an electronic version of it with you at all times. You should have received an email already from the insurance company. And if you haven't, you should receive something in the next week or 2. If your spouse and or children are here with you in Canada, it is important that they are also enrolled in UHIP within 30 days of arriving. Otherwise, they will be charged a $500 late fee. And again, you should receive your UHIP card through your Western email within the next few weeks if you haven't received that already. In addition to your UHIP, you will have the extended health plan through either your USC or SOGS, depending if you're a graduate or undergraduate students. So undergraduate students will have the USC extended health plan, also called Purple Care, and graduate students will have the SOGS extended health plan through Student VIP, the enhanced plan. And for those of you who are teaching assistants, you will have an additional extended health rebate through PSAC 610, which is your union. So for both of these, if you have family members here with you, you can opt them in. So you can pay an additional fee to include them into those health plans, but it is optional. And so both of these health plans cover a variety of things. They're slightly different, but they cover the cost of services such as 80% of your prescriptions. They cover counseling and psychologist visits. They do both offer, I believe, a virtual doctor option. Then they cover some dental and some vision. Please note that if you're a part-time or an exchange student, you are not covered under these plans. So it is important to get yourself an additional extended health plan if you do go part-time or are an exchange student. If you'd like to learn more about your different health plans, please make sure to visit our International Pre-Arrival module on health and wellness in Canada for more information. And so here's a brief overview of the difference between the two health plans. It's really important that you understand the difference between your UHIP health plan and your extended health plan. So as I mentioned before, your UHIP will cover things such as hospital visits, doctor's appointments, x-rays, surgeries, blood work, those sort of things. And your extended health plan will cover things such as prescriptions, dentist appointments, optometrist appointments, getting new eyeglasses or contact lenses. With your extended health plan, do know that there is a maximum that you can claim each year. And so it's important that you take a look at the website and understand that health plan and how much is covered for each thing. So how do you submit a claim if you do have to pay for the service? So many providers or clinics will have the option to direct bill your extended health plan or your UHIP. However, not all of them do. And so it's important that you are familiar with how to make that claim. It's also important that you download and print and show your benefits card when you are using any of those services. So if they don't have the option to direct bill your health plan, you must pay for the service upfront and then submit a claim for the reimbursement. So it's important that you get the official receipt of how much you've paid. And so make sure to visit both of the health plans for more information on how to submit a claim. And I will pass it over to Francesca for this next section.
Right. Thanks, Fabiana. If any of that was confusing, or if you still have questions about the difference between UHIP and your extended health plans, or what's covered or how to access it, definitely pop any questions you have in the chat, or the Q&A box, I should say. And then also Ray has put in some of the links into the chat as well. So both the Student VIP and Purple Care websites for the extended health plan do a really good job of really outlining exactly what's covered. And you might be surprised at how much coverage you have through those extended health plans. So best to know even before you need something, what's covered. All right. So in terms of accessing medical care in Canada, oops. Trying to, I don't think I have, oh, there we go. There we go. So in case you need medical care, somebody asked in the Q&A, where is Health and Wellness Services located? The answer is Thames Hall 2170. If you've been to the Thames Hall atrium, it's just right across from there and going through the same doors. And so there you'll find a general practitioner. Our family doctors are there in Health and Wellness Services, as well as some counselors if you need a mental health appointment. And quickly, in terms of the medical system in Canada, if you don't already know, you might be used to a system where you just pay as you go if you want to see a specialist, or you can just directly make an appointment with them. That's not the case in Canada generally. So how it works is for any sort of minor ailment or checkup, any health concern you have, you'll go through your general practitioner, and from there, if they think or if you request a referral to a specialist, for example, a gynecologist or a dermatologist, or any kind of specialist, they will make the referral for you to those specialists. You cannot just directly make an appointment with a specialist. So that might be different from what you're used to. So That's kind of a first line treatment. Obviously, if the health and wellness clinic is closed, for example, on the weekends or after hours, if you need to see a doctor, you could go to what's called a walk-in clinic. So walk-in clinics are just as they sound. You just walk in without an appointment. Some are also taking online appointments depending on the clinic. And there you'll see any doctor that's available, again, a general practitioner. Um, if you have a cold or a non-emergency medical concern, we have a list of walk-in clinics near campus on our website. If you have something that's uh, not quite an emergency in terms of, it's not life threatening, but it is maybe more than uh, just a general health concerns. For example, if you're playing soccer and you roll your ankle, you think it might be fractured or broken. Um, you have a serious burn or something like that, you'll want to go to the urgent care center. And the nearest one is at St. Joseph's Hospital, right off of Richmond Street. And so urgent care is like an emergency room, but a little bit below there. So um, they still do scans if necessary, x-rays if you think you have a break or anything, and can refer you to some specialists from there as well. If you have an actual emergency, God forbid you get into a car accident or you have a life-threatening condition of any kind, you want to go to the nearest emergency room. If you can't make it there yourself, you are going to call 911 from any phone, and an ambulance will come and get you. There's also a service called Health 811. There's a live chat that you can access to if you're unsure, where you should go, what kind of healthcare you should seek here in Canada. Uh, Regardless of where you go for healthcare, what the context is, make sure that you're bringing your UHIP card and a claim form. And be sure to take photos of your claim forms and your UHIP cards to keep track of all your documents. Just a quick note, if you're here with your spouse and your spouse is working full time, they might be eligible for OHIP, so the Ontario Health Insurance Plan. So if that's the case for you or your spouse, make sure you can make an appointment and talk to an advisor about a UHIP reimbursement. Other on-campus health services, there's many. So I already mentioned health and wellness services. They do general medical care, counseling, birth control, allergies and immunizations, COVID vaccination and testing. They can give flu shots and other immunizations, dietitian services as well. So that's all within health and wellness services. Also in the UCC, there are a few options. There's UCC Dental in the lower level, as well as Campus Vision and the chiropractic office, and the pharmacy are all located in the UCC. So if you've taken a walk there already, you will have seen those. And again, those are typically services that are covered by your extended health plan as opposed to your UHIP plan. In terms of health and wellness services, you might have noticed on your checklist that we gave you when you arrived that it says what register for health and wellness services. Um, it's not an urgent thing necessarily, but we put it on a checklist because if you register in advance by going in person to the health and wellness services office, that means that when you need a health appointment, you can easily make an appointment online. If you don't register in advance, that's fine. Or if you forget to or don't have time, that's fine. It just means that for your first appointment, you will need to come in person to register and make that appointment. So the reason we really suggest maybe registering ahead of time is if you are really feeling unwell, you have a sore throat, runny nose, you're just really not feeling well and it's midwinter, you might probably don't want to come in twice, once to make an appointment and once to actually see the doctor. If you can make an appointment online, it's just easier. So just a recommendation um, from our friends at Health Services. Okay. Oops. We're going to talk a little bit about staying safe on campus. I'm going to pass it over to Fabiana for this bit.
Great. Thank you, Francesca. So safety on campus is an important thing that we talk about. So Western in general is a very safe campus. However, it's important to be aware of what services are available to you and in the case of an emergency, who to contact. So on campus, we have what's called the Western Special Constable Services. And so they are similar to a campus police. They may look like police, however, they are special constables and they operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so they have jurisdiction both here at main campus at the Western University campus, as well as the affiliated university colleges, to make sure that we have a safe environment here at Western. So if a crime happens outside of the Western campuses, they will collaborate with the London Police Services to continue any investigations. So if you do face an emergency, definitely call 911. If it's something that's happening at the university, London Police Services will actually connect with the Western Constable Services. If you call from a phone here at the university, it will go directly to the special constables. But if you're using your phone, it will go to the London services. If you do have a non-emergency, you can call their regular phone number, or you can also email them. Some additional services that are available to ensure your safety here on campus. You will see the Western Special Constables. You might see them walking around campus. They might be on bikes. You'll also see their vehicle patrols taking place throughout campus. And they're here to support you. And they also help with liaising with the campus partners, community partners. You might also see on campus these emergency blue phones that you see pictured on the screen. And so if you do find yourself in an emergency, you can click on the red button there, and that will connect you directly to Western Special Constable Services. The blue light will activate, and they will be able to see you on video once you press that button. But it's a great way to immediately contact Western Constable Services in case of an emergency. So you would activate this if you witness a crime, if you ever feel unsafe or you need assistance, or you require urgent medical attention. With urgent medical attention here on campus, we have what's called the Student Emergency Response Team. So you might see students walking around in these blue shirts with a big red backpack. These are what they call the CERT team, and they provide a medical emergency response here on campus during the academic year. And it's a great way to get that medical response much faster as you wait for an ambulance to arrive. And so they can help deal with minor non-life-threatening situations that don't require an ambulance, but they can also be there as the ambulance arrives from off campus. It's also a great volunteer opportunity if you're looking for one in the future. Next, we have RAD, which is the Women's Self-Defense course that you can sign up for. It's they go over personal safety awareness, risk reduction, and avoidance, and they will teach you some practical defensive techniques. And you don't need any special skills. The classes are done in a private group setting, in a safe and supportive environment where you can try things that maybe you've never tried before. And so this is available to all of our Western community members. It is free. You do have to pay a deposit, which is refunded back to you after you complete the course. Next, we have an app here at Western called the Alert Western U Emergency Notification System. You may have received an email recently asking you to update your information through Alert Western U. So this is a mass notification system in case that there is an emergency here on campus. And so your Western email is automatically registered, but you can add your cell phone number. You can also add on the app onto your phone to receive app notifications in case of an emergency on campus. So the alerts can be related to imminent danger, campus evacuations, weather emergencies. So for example, if there's a severe thunderstorm or the threat of a tornado, you'll see that an alert will come up. And they do testing once a month. So you might, or not for this, you'll receive, they do testing, I think, once a term for the Alert Western U system. We also have a weather monitoring system which can alert the community of severe weather. So for example, if there might be a tornado warning, and so you'll hear light sirens going off on campus, and the speaker will give instructions. And so this is tested every Wednesday of the month at noon. And so you might have already heard this, but if not, you will hear this coming up in October. And generally, if there is a severe weather alert, you want to make sure that you seek shelter immediately and you go to the lowest level, ideally where there's no windows. You can lay flat or face down depending on the situation, and just listen until Environment Canada issues the all clear. So this doesn't happen often, but we do get tornado warnings sometimes here in London in the summer. And so it's important to be aware of what that alarm is for. In addition to some of the safety supports available, we have a service called Foot Patrol, which is another volunteer program here at the university that provides safe escorts, both for main campus and affiliate students, and including also some off-campus locations that are near the university. So you can call the service or use their app, and a team of 2 volunteers can come and meet you at your location. They can wait with you at bus stops to ensure that you reach your car safely on campus. They can walk with you to your residence or any other building on campus late at night. You can ask for plainclothes walks or a quiet escort that doesn't talk as much. For longer escorts, they do have a vehicle available. They also are the ones that manage the lost and found. So if you ever lose something, maybe you lose your AirPods or you lose a sweater or another item, all the lost and found is usually makes its way over to the Foot Patrol office, which is located in UCC room 57. So their hours are from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. During the academic year. Again, if you're looking for a great volunteer opportunity, this is a great opportunity to meet people and get to know the campus. So how can we stay safe on campus? So some personal safety tips. So making sure you're aware of your location and your surroundings. Make eye contact with drivers and pedestrians, communicate with your family, friends, your roommates, where you're going, especially late at night, or that you've arrived safely home. Make sure that you secure your valuables, lock your room, lock your houses, make sure that you keep your valuables in a safe location. So for example, your passports and important documents, make sure that you have them locked up in a secure place. Before you leave the house, again, for this as sounding like perhaps your mom, make sure you charge your cell phone. Make sure it's fully charged before leaving to go out. Document serial numbers of your valuables, so your computers, your phones, anything that's of value to you. Make sure that you have that information. So in the case that something is stolen, you have that information for the police. And if you have any concerns or see any incidents, make sure to report them, whether it's to the Western Special Constables or to London Police. Next, we're going to talk about gender-based and sexual violence. So many of you have done the online modules around GBSV. But just a quick review. So what is GBSV? Gender-based violence targets sexuality, gender identity, and gender expression. It includes acts like sexual assault, sexual harassment, stalking, indecent exposure, voyeurism, sexual exploitation, cyber harassment, and much more. And it occurs without the victim's consent, both physically and psychologically. So what is consent? Consent is an agreement between two or more people that engage in sexual activity, that whether that is kissing, touching, grinding, sex, having sex. An individual must be actively and willingly give consent to any sexual activity. And so sexual activity without consent is considered sexual assault here in Canada. And so consent is never assumed or implied, is not silence or the absence of no, cannot be given if the victim is impaired by alcohol, drugs, or is unconscious, can never be obtained through threats or coercion, can be revoked at any time, and cannot be obtained if the perpetrator abuses a position of trust, power, or authority. And so it's important to be aware of what is consent, both physically and psychologically. And so if you have ever been if you are a survivor of gender-based violence, we do have a case manager here at Western that you can contact for support. Whether it was before or after you arrived at Western, it doesn't matter. There's lots of supports here at Western. And again, it's a fully confidential service here. And so assistance can include connecting you to resources, giving you reporting options if you would like to report it. They go over safety planning and accommodations that you might need academically as you go through things and get the supports that you need. And so going out at night is part of being a student here at Western. And so really important to make sure that you are staying safe as you go out at night and have some fun. And so making sure that you are planning your evening, choose where you're going in advance. You can inform somebody where you're going. Again, make sure your phone is fully charged and working, and that you bring your essentials, making sure you have your ID, your cards, perhaps some emergency cash, and that you have some important numbers. For example, that you're able to call a taxi and a person here in Canada in the case of an emergency, or somebody if you need some support or help. During the night, making sure you stay hydrated. If you are drinking alcohol, make sure you alternate alcoholic beverages with waters to make sure that you stay hydrated. Watch what you drink. Keep an eye on your drink to prevent somebody from tampering your drinks and possibly putting something in it that they shouldn't be. Stay with your groups, stick with friends, don't go out by yourself. Make sure you look out for each other and don't leave anybody behind. Know your limits, monitor your alcohol intake, know how much you can handle, and monitor how much you're drinking so that you're staying in control. And make sure you're getting home safely. Plan ahead of time how you'll get home safely. Don't drink and drive. Make sure that the person driving you hasn't had any alcohol or consumed any drugs. Stay in touch with your friends. Keep them informed where you're going, especially if somehow your group gets split up. And trust your instincts. Listen to your guts. If you ever feel uneasy or unsafe, take action and pay attention to those feelings that you're feeling. For those of you that are living off campus, we have a team of volunteers of students, of trained students that are employed here at Western called the Off-Campus Advisors. And so they help students navigate some of the challenges with living off campus. And so they can help with a variety of things, such as if you're having problems with your landlord or with your rental units. If you don't know what the laws and the bylaws are here in London, they can support you in those ways. So for example, there's a noise bylaw, so you can't have loud noise after a certain time in London, or your garbage can't be out before 6 p.m. and you have to put away your containers by a certain time the day that your garbage gets picked up. So they can help you navigate all those different laws as it relates to living off campus. They can also help you if you're having any disagreements with your roommates and address any concerns that may arise from living off campus. And so the information is listed on the website below. And as you can see, they offer services outside of the regular work hours when the university offices are closed. In addition, there are some public transport safety measures in place as well. So if you are taking London Transit buses, you can request a courtesy stop along the bus route where safety permits during the evening hours. So if there's a bit of a gap between one stop and the next, and you're hoping to get off the bus a little bit closer, you can ask the operator, the bus driver, if they would mind stopping in between as a courtesy stop. On the buses, you will notice that there is audio and video surveillance, and the bus drivers have the ability to contact the police in case of an emergency. They also record everything on the bus as a way to deter acts of vandalism and violence. For those of you who are undergraduate students, if you are going out late at night, the buses stop around midnight. And so if you're wanting to find a safe way to get back home or to get downtown, the USC does offer a service called Mustang On Demand. And so you can download their app and use that service where you can request a pickup and a drop off near the university or downtown. During the exam period, they will also have a late night exam service. It's a special bus that will function outside of the LTC bus hours that can take you. They'll have specific bus routes near the university. So if you're staying late on campus to study during that time, you'll be able to access that free service. And so next we'll talk a little bit about cyber safety. And so we see this often, in particular with many international students, that there are many cybersecurity threats. A lot of it is around phishing or social engineering. There's a lot of malware or viruses. Your account credentials might be stolen, and using public Wi-Fi can be another big security threat. So phishing are scams where attackers send you fake emails or messages pretending to be someone you trust, like the bank, the government, the university. So they are trying to get your personal information. And I'm sure you've noticed a lot of these coming through your Western email. But they're also coming through text messages as well. So really important to be aware of those. Social engineering is a tactic where attackers manipulate or deceive people into doing something like sharing confidential information or giving access to secure systems by exploiting human psychology and connection. So for example, you might receive an instant message through social media of somebody posing as your friend and asking for money. You might get a phone call of somebody pretending to be the RCMP here in Canada or a security or police from your home country. Malware and viruses is software that's designed to harm and exploit your services. So making sure that you only download safe software onto your devices, and so on and so forth. So ways that you can protect against these cyber threats include making sure that you enable multi-factor authentication. So for all your Western accounts, we do have the Duo multi-factor authentication, but setting that up for some of your other accounts as well is always a good idea. Single sign-on is a system that lets you use one set of login credentials like your email and password to access multiple accounts. This makes it easier to manage your different accounts while reducing the need to remember so many different passwords. Making sure that you install antivirus software on your computer and your devices. Taking Western cybersecurity awareness training and making sure that you use strong passwords using different letters and symbols that aren't easy for people to figure out, and making sure that you're not sharing those passwords with others. So public versus campus Wi-Fi. So the problem with public Wi-Fi is that a lot of times these networks are not secure and might even be fake and set up by cyber criminals to intercept your data or hack into your devices. So always make sure to double check network names and stick to trusted sources, and avoid sharing personal or financial details when you're on a public Wi-Fi. At Western, we have 2 secure Wi-Fis available, UWO Secure V2 and EduRoam. So UWO Secure V2 is for all students, faculty, and staff at Western. This is your secure network for online studies and research. And to log into that account, hopefully you figured it out by now, but to log in, you will use your Western username and password. EduRoam, on the other hand, is a worldwide roaming access service developed for the international research and education community. So it's actually available at institutions around the world. And so to log into EduRoam, you will use your full Western email and password. If you do have any issues connecting to either one, make sure to connect with Western's Technology Services and they can support you with that. So how to spot some phishing scams. So pay attention to the requests that are coming in. Is it an unexpected request? So for example, recently I've been seeing a lot of emails coming through Western emails saying, I'm offering you a part-time job, or saying that in order to, that Western is doing a change of their emails and you need to re-log in. So a lot of the times these aren't legitimate emails or messages. So think about, is this something that I've actually applied to, or is it an unexpected request? Be cautious of any suspicious links, and before clicking any links on an email or a text message, especially if they're from unknown sources. But a lot of the phishing scams are getting really smart, and the emails might look like they're coming from someone that you know. But be suspicious. Normally, I suggest to students, don't click on any links. Go and go into your web browser and look up that specific link. Pay attention to the grammar and spelling. A lot of the times these emails have a lot of spelling or weird phrasing. And pay attention to any pressure tactics. Is it an urgent request asking you to take action right away, or threatening you with specific consequences, are usually a classic sign of phishing. So legitimate organizations won't rush you or use scare tactics. Some scams that target students. I've mentioned some of these. A very common one is a job scam. So offering fake job opportunities to international students, asking you for a lot of personal information, or asking you to pay. In order to get the job, you have to pay up front. And so a lot of times those are scams. And these often result in identity theft or financial loss. Other scams that we see with students is students claiming, or emails claiming eligibility for either a grant, a scholarship, or requiring transcript updates, asking you for personal information or payments. Another one is a lot of housing scams. So scammers posting fake rentals, targeting students looking for housing, asking for deposits or rent up front. And once the payment is made, the scammer disappears, leaving you without housing or funds. And so this is why Western recommends, when you are looking for housing, to use Western's off-campus housing listings rather than some of the Facebook groups or Kijiji, because there are a lot of fake rental listings there. Another big one that targets international students are immigration scams. So getting phone calls of people posing to be from IRCC, so immigration, or the RCMP or CBSA, threatening students with deportation if they don't make immediate payments. And so they can be quite demanding, asking you to pay in cryptocurrency, using a lot of threatening languages. So here's an example of a phishing email that a student received. So when you look at it initially, it says it's from somebody from Western. that it was sent from Julie Fan, but at the bottom, the contact person, it says Anthony Sancho, right? So there's a difference there. Some other things it says, it's that you're getting free money and that you don't have to pay it back. That usually doesn't happen. Asking for more private information, including your cell phone number, so that they can send you text messages. In this particular email, they're also asking you to not reply with your Western email, but to use a different email address. And it's sent from the Student College Board. So who is that, right? So if you're ever not sure about an email that you received to your Western email, you can email security@uw.ca or contact Western Technology Services Help Desk, and they can give you some advice and determine whether it's a real email or not. Always good to check and listen to your gut instinct. Some government scams that come often, they come through emails, text messages, letters, and phone calls. As I mentioned, they can claim to be CBSA, immigration, the RCMP, the Canadian government. I've even seen one show up on a student's phone, showing up as the London police. So they're getting quite smart with these. And so again, CRA and Canada's immigration will never text you asking you for personal information or for payment. If you ever receive a call about your visa or passport package, beware. The government never calls you to threaten you or demand immediate payment. If you notice a wrong number or a link in an unexpected message, be careful. Again, the government never asks you to share personal information through a link or ask you to engage in lengthy back and forth texts or phone calls. So just being aware of what those scams can be can really help you avoid falling for some of them. So always ask yourself, do I owe money to the Canadian government? Is the caller using any threatening language, like you will be arrested, you're going to lose your visa status, be deported, or have your account suspended? Are they asking you for personal information, such as your birthday, your passport number, bank or credit card information that they should already have? Are they asking you to pay by prepaid credit card, gift cards, or Bitcoin? So the government will never ask you to pay in any of those ways. And is a caller asking for information that you know that they already have on file for you? So all of those should kind of bring an alarm bell to you if you receive any text messages, phone calls, or emails asking for any of those things. So some things that you can do, if somebody is calling you, ask for their name and the number of the agent. If it's a phone call, I always suggest hang up and call the organization directly to confirm the agent's identity before giving any information. If you lost any money or you fell for any of the scams or frauds, making sure that you call the police and also report the incident to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. You can also book an appointment with one of our international student advisors, and we can walk you through the steps of some of the things that you can do to make sure to protect your identity and to do some safety planning if that is needed. So if you are a victim of a scam or believe your accounts have been compromised, do not try to resolve or address the issue alone. There are supports. And so if this happens here on campus, you can talk to Western Special Constables. And if it happens off campus, you can call London Police. And so I will pass it on to Francesca.
Right. Thanks, Fabiana. That's super important information. I know a lot of information was thrown at you just then, but over the years, we've had to start including that information about scams and phishing and staying safe online and in person with our new students because, you know, as Fabiana mentioned, uh, these scams abound all over the world, and you know people are getting smarter and smarter about taking advantage of people's trust in technology, especially. I'll tell you a story just quickly before we go. We're ending off the webinar, but just last weekend, my husband fell for a scam. We drove to Toronto, took the 407 toll route, And as we were arriving, he got a text message saying, your 407 bill is ready to be paid. Just click here to pay it. And he just read that really quickly, click the link, put in his payment information, a credit card, and then after he did that, he started to kind of feel weird about it, and he showed me the text message, and yeah, lo and behold, it said also, click here to pay. If you don't pay, um, I think it was within 24 hours, your license will be suspended. And I was like, "Did you not read that part?" Because again, those sort of extreme pressure tactics, your license will be suspended. Well, that's not gonna happen if you, take a little bit longer to pay a toll route. And so he had to call the Visa company and get a new card and cancel his card and spend all kinds of time on the phone, figuring that out. So yeah, it can happen to anybody, and when you least expect it, you might be distracted, or it may really make a lot of sense like us. We just got off the 407, so he didn't really question it. So always when you receive a text message or an email, think twice about it before you provide your personal information. All right, so we're wrapping up this webinar today. Thank you for being here. I just want to highlight that the next webinar will be happening next week on September 25th, and that's all about living in London, adjusting to life at Western. We'll talk about a little bit more about Canadian culture, things that you may or may not know yet, how to find community here in London, student life at Western, some tips for living in residence, and some useful resources that you might find helpful as you continue to settle in here at Western and in London. Also, some reminders, our new student celebration, lunch and dinner are happening tomorrow in the Great Hall. So if you've registered for those, we are really excited to see you then and share in a nice warm meal and a nice warm welcome to you. Again, lunch is from 12 to 3 and dinner from 5 to 8 in the Great Hall. So we hope to see you there. Also, next week we'll have a SIN clinic, our second one for this fall. So if you're looking to get a social insurance number and you haven't done so already, particularly if you plan to work in Canada, you need a SIN number to get paid for your work in Canada. So if you don't already have one and need one, be sure to come to the SIN clinic on September 25th. Also, every Thursday, including today, we'll continue to host our Global Cafe events, 3 to 5 p.m. in the IGAB atrium. You don't need to do anything but show up. You don't have to spend the whole time. You can drop by anytime between 3 and 5 that you're able to. We'll have snacks, coffee, tea, and just good opportunity to connect with others. And then last but not least, at the end of the month in September 28th, we'll remind you about the homecoming game and fan festival. So Western is hosting a great fan festival right by the football field. There'll be games and food trucks and free food and free things. So we really encourage you to check that out. Check out the game. We have award-winning cheerleaders that will be there. And it'll be really exciting. So definitely check that out on your own and with you friends. All the information about our upcoming events is on our website, listed there at the bottom, iesc.udo.ca. If you go click on new students and orientation schedule, you'll see all of those there. And last but not least, we'll always remind you if you have any questions that we haven't answered today, or that you're still needing clarity on, if you need help, even somebody to listen to, if you're feeling homesick at any point. Also, if you have any immigration questions moving forward, definitely come talk to us. There's appointment opportunities with our international student advisors via online, virtual appointments, drop-ins, FAQ Fridays, and then also in-person drop-ins. So definitely come see us anytime. Oops. Last but not least, some of our contact information there. You can email us if you're unsure about anything. Call us and drop by our center.